Hello and welcome to another tutorial by Happy Cloud Solutions. Today we're going to be looking at how to create a custom policy in Azure Active Directory B2C. So Azure B2C offers two methods to define like how users interact with your application. So it's either through the predefined user flows or through the fully configurable custom policies. And if you recall, or if you have checked the past video, you would see that we created the one for user flow, and now we are continuing to use that same web application to do the one for custom policies. So this is the one that was created for the user flows. Here we created the sign up and sign in policy, and we also created profile editing. So just to refresh our memory, and by the way, the link to this tutorial, the one that was configured for user flow, is in the comment section. So you can go look at the videos and you know get up to speed to where we are now. So we're able to configure this part with capture and everything in the previous video. So now let's get to it. Now we are going to, like I said, be doing the one for custom policies. And if you want to do the one for custom policies, you have to use something like it's called the Identity Experience Framework. Okay. So with that in mind, the prerequisite is that you have to have already created your B2C tenant and registered the web application and also enabled ID token implicit grant. So if you followed from the last video and you're trying to access your B2C tenant today, you can go back to your Azure portal, check the resource group where you created your tenant in, and just click on it here. And then when you click open B2C tenant, it's going to take you here. All right. So now the first thing we're going to do is to create policy keys, that's signing keys and encryption key. So to do that, we'll just click on policy keys. I'll click on add and options generate. I'm just going to give this a name. This will be RSA, leave this as signature, and then select create. All right. And then we're going to create the encryption key. Just select add, generate, put the name, and this is going to be RSA. Key usage is going to be encryption, and then select create. All right, since that is done, the next thing we're going to do is to register to application. All right, so B2C uses um, requires us to register two applications that it uses to sign up and sign in users with local accounts. So one is the Identity Experience Framework, and the other is the Proxy Identity Experience Framework, which is basically a native app with delegated permissions to the Identity Experience Framework app. All right, so to do that, just click on App Registrations and then click New Registration. So if I go to all application, you can see the one that I created in the former video, which is the web app. And then I'll just click on new registrations, give it a name. So for this, you're going to select accounts in this organization directory only. All right. And then you're going to use this as the URL. So just come here, select web, and then put the URL. So now this part says your tenant name. I could show you a way to find your tenant name. Just you can go back to your Azure ADB2 tenant. I'll open that in another window coming up. And you can just click any of your user flows, one user flow. And this is what I need, this part. So I'll just copy, come here, replace your tenant name, replace it with what you just copied. Do the same thing here. Paste. All right, we're good. And then you can register. Let me just check that everything here is right. Everything looks good. So click register. So now, just as we did for the identity experience framework, we're also gonna create the proxy identity experience framework. But before we get there, let us expose the API. So from the manage here, click on manage, click on expose an API, and then what you do here is select add a scope. All right, use the one that is already defined here, and then click save and continue. All right, then for the scope name, you're just gonna give it a name of user underscore impersonation, and then for the display name, I'm just gonna call it access identity framework, and then just put a description that your users will understand, or that your administrators will understand. So click on add scope. Now that we have done that, we're gonna quickly create another application. So come back here, click on new registration, paste it, select this. Then we're going to select public clients or native, that's either mobile or desktop. And then for the URI, you're just going to use the my app auth, and then leave it as it is, leave it as it is, register. All right. Next, you have to specify that the application should be treated as a public client. So once it's done creating, click on authentication. Under advanced settings, okay, click on yes, and then select save. Okay, ensure that the allow public client is true in the manifest file. So you just come to the manifest file, and if you see here in line 6, allow public client is set to true, so that's fine, that updated properly. Okay, so now we're going to grant permissions to the API scope that we exposed earlier in the identity experience framework registration. So I'm just going to come back here. I'm going to click here, and then under manage, select API permissions. Under configure permission, select add a permission. Then select APIs my organization uses, and then you would see the identity experience framework application that we just created. And then this is the user impersonation scope. So select that and then click on add permissions. Okay. So now you see this grant admin consent for Happy Cloud Solutions. Select this. It's going to ask you to confirm. Just select yes. And then you're going to allow that to apply. And then you refresh your browser. I hope it's not too much. I hope you are filling with everything. Unless you can always pause and go through stops if I'm too fast. All right, now we are getting to the tricky part. Should I say tricky? Maybe not. So right now we are going to um download a set of XML files that have been made available in a particular GitHub location. So basically, the XML files are going to be used for the custom policies. And for that, I have opened Visual Studio Code and I created a folder. Just you can create a folder with any name and then just open your VS Code. And then I'm going to download. I'm going to do. Let's close this. I'm going to clone a particular GitHub repo that will download all the files and folders that I need. So click enter. I'm going to put the GitHub repo link, or the link to clone the repo is also in the comment section. So we do that. So in all the files, in all of the files in the social and local accounts directory, you're meant to replace the string that has your tenant with the name of your Azure AD B2C tenant. But this can take some time to download. So I'm going to wait for this to be done downloading. Then I'll come back. So we are done downloading the folder or cloning the folder. Next thing for you to do is open the one for social and local accounts. So basically, the reason why I'm using this particular folder is because I want users to be able to log in with either their local account or their social account. And in this case, the social account that we're going to use is Facebook. So if they don't have like the username and password, they can just sign in with their Facebook credentials. All right. So what we're going to do is in all the files here, we're going to replace everything that has your tenant with your actual tenant's name. Okay. All right. Let's do that. So to make this easy, I'll just do your tenant and then replace. Right, so let's press enter. So it changes everything. Now that's all changed. Save. Go to the next file. Do the same thing. Enter, 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 enter. Everything is saved. Control S. Then go to the sign up or signing. Do the same thing. Save it. Go to the next one. Trust framework base. Enter, enter, enter. Control S. Trust framework extensions. Enter, enter, enter. Control S. And then lastly, this one. Enter, 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 enter. Control S. All right, that's good. So the next thing we're going to do is to add the application IDs to the custom policies. Okay, so open the trust framework extension.xml file and let me just expand this. So it's this one, okay? Let's close this one. So right now, you have to find the element for the technical profile ID equals to login. So let's do that. And then replace both instances of experience framework app ID with the actual app ID. But first, let me go to this and get the app ID. So copy, come back to Visual Studio Code, Control F. So let me see. All right. So now we see the technical profile part, but that's not what we want. So this is what we're looking for, this section here. All right. So now what we want to do is the key is client ID. So we're going to come here. This one here, identity experience framework. Put it here. Paste. Then there's another one. So the value for the identity experience app ID, put it here. Come back here. Get the one for app registration for proxy. So take that and paste here. Paste. Paste. All right. So just checking that everything has been put as it should. Control S. So after updating the XML file, the next thing you want to do is to create a Facebook application. All right. Or let me say create an app on Facebook. And to do that, you have to be registered as a Facebook developer. So if I go, this is mine, I'm already signed in. Let me open this in incognito mode and I'll just paste the link to log in to the developer portal. So this is basically how it is. You log in and then it takes you to your profile and then you basically are able to create your application. I mean, it's pretty straightforward though. The link to register is in the comment section or to log in if you have an account is in the comment section. So as you can see, I already created one test app here. To create another one is also very simple. Just click on create app. It's going to ask you some questions. Select it as it fits you. So just click on next. So it's going to ask different questions like what you want to do with your app. And then I select authenticate and request data from users with Facebook login. So select this and next. All right, click on create app. All right, once it's been created, you can see your custom app here. And this down part where you see app settings, just click basic. And then in basic, you would get the app ID and the secret. Okay. So there's some data that I haven't imputed, but what I want to show you is basically this app ID and app secret because that's what we're going to need for this. Okay. So with that said, we'll also need to update the XML file. All right. But before we do that, let's go to the Azure portal and then our ADB2C. Where is it? Here is it. And then under policies, select identity experience framework, select policy keys, and then select add. All right. For the options, choose manual. And for the name, you can just give it Facebook secret. And we will leave this. So basically the secret here is now the value from your Facebook app that you created. So let's go back. Sure, copy and paste. All right. So we're going to leave this as signature and then create. So once we've done that, we're fine and good. There's one more thing we need to do, which is to come back to this file here, the trust framework extensions of XML file. And then we're going to look for the part that has the Facebook auth. All right, that's here. So here you're meant to put in the Facebook client's ID. That's here, okay? So we're just going to go back and copy the Facebook client ID. And come back here, here, and paste. All right. Just confirming we put that right. We did. And then save. Okay. So now we're basically done modifying the XML file. Everything is done. The next thing that we need to do is to upload the policies. And you have to upload it in a particular order. All right. Because some are dependent on the other. Okay. So come to the identity experience framework. Okay. Here you're going to see upload custom policy. So now the first one we're going to upload is the trust framework base.xml file. So I'll click on upload custom policy. This is where we are. So the first one I want to upload is this, which is the trust framework base.xml file. Open, upload. After that, the next one we want to upload is the trust framework localization.xml file. Remember, you have to upload it in this order. Then the next one is the extensions.xml file. Okay, upload. The next one is the sign up and sign in.xml file. So let's do that. Yep. Open. Open. All right. The next one is the profile edit.xml file. And then lastly, we have the password reset.xml file. Upload. So voila, we have it all uploaded. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. So now let's test it. Moment of truth. So now let's go to B2, the one for sign up and sign in. So let's click this and then let's run the flow. Click on run now. It requests that you sign in. So you put your credentials, signing. So now the error is saying that the application with the identifier that starts with 8E and ends with 732 has not been granted consent. So let's go see what that is about. So remember 732. Okay, let's go. So basically, if you want to find out which app registration is that, just go to app registration, go to all applications. You can see the one that has the 732 and starts with 8E is the proxy identity experience framework. And it says it hasn't been granted consent. So let's see. One thing, let's see. So one thing I forgot to do was to grant consent to the identity experience framework user impersonation. So I'm just going to click on add a permission and then I'll select APIs my organization uses, select this, and then select the user impersonation and select add permissions. So after doing that, I also have to grant admin consent. Select yes. All right, so that should work now. Let's go back to Azure AD B2C. Come here, go back to sign up, signing, run now. All right, so if I sign in, all right, so now this works and we can see that we successfully signed in using the user account that we created for the user flow. So when I used the user flow earlier on in the previous video, I signed up for an account, all right, and which has all these details here, this one here. So now that same user account has been stored in my Azure AD B2C. So now I can now use that account even when I do the custom policy to sign in. So that's why I didn't sign up again. I just use an existing account to sign in. So yeah, so this is basically what it looks like when you use custom policies to create your flow. For authenticating your users into an application. So, did you find this helpful? Do you need help? Let me know in the comment section and I'll be ready to answer your questions. Thank you.